to Hudson River Park to commemorate the one-year anniversary of the attacks that occurred here. It's now my honor to introduce the mayor of the city of New York, the Honorable Bill de Blasio. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant. We are gathered to remember a moment that shocked us all, that pained us all, a moment we feared would come and finally did arrive in this city. And we lost good souls that day, New Yorkers and visitors alike. And we're here today to remember them, to mourn them, to stand in solidarity with their families and with their nations, and to also recommit ourselves to each other as New Yorkers in a place that remains a beacon to the whole world, a beacon of respect and understanding, where people of all different faiths, all different backgrounds gather together in a kind of harmony that makes us New York. And that's, even amidst our pain, that's how we answer all those who promote hate, all those who try and use violence to undermine our values, to undermine our democracy. New Yorkers have shown time and time again that we will not allow that to happen. I want to thank everyone who has gathered here today. I know there are friends and loved ones of some of those we lost, and I thank you so much for joining with us to keep their memory alive. I want to thank all the first responders who are here, all the people who keep us safe, and thank them for what they do every single day. I want to thank representing their nations that felt this pain with us, the Consul General of Argentina, Marcelo Martin Justo, and the Consul General of Belgium, Kathy Bugenhout, for across all the boundaries of nations and hemispheres joining us in solidarity today and remembering those we lost. I want to thank the elected officials who are here, Congressman Jerry Nadler, State Senator Brian Kavanaugh, Assemblymember Deborah Glick, and Councilmember Donovan Richards. Thank you all for joining us. And the folks who do such important work leading the agencies that keep us safe, our Police Commissioner Jimmy O'Neill, from the Fire Department, First Deputy Commissioner Laura Kavanaugh, and Chief of Department Jim Leonard, our Emergency Management Commissioner Joe Esposito. I thank all of them for their leadership and for all the men and women under their command do every day. I want to mention two officers who are with us. And one of them, in the aftermath of the attack, we got to know his story and what he did and what his colleagues did. Very, very close to this site. Police officer Ryan Nash, you helped to save lives. You stopped with your colleagues this attack right in its tracks. You took a horrible situation that could have gotten much worse and stopped it and protected lives and exemplified the very best of the NYPD. Let's thank Ryan Nash and all of his colleagues in NYPD. And that day, it didn't matter what uniform you were wearing, everyone worked in common cause, whether it was NYPD, FDNY, OEM, but also the Parks Department. And one of the other first responders on the scene, immediately helping people and immediately protecting people, was Parks Enforcement Officer Luz Carrion. Thank you, Luz, so much. We've also been joined, I want to thank Councilmember Margaret Chin for joining us. Thank you so much, Margaret. It's a solemn moment. We're remembering 8 lives taken suddenly, shockingly, 8 lives, people who were literally on this bikeway enjoying this beautiful part of New York City, these beautiful views, one of the most special parts of New York City. It was a day that was meant for people to appreciate their lives, and we know, of course, the story of the Argentine friends who were here celebrating together, and it was a wonderful moment suddenly turned horrible because of a terrorist. Someone filled with hate, someone motivated to attack people because of who they were, what they believed, because coming here to the world's greatest city, to a place that's a beacon for respect and inclusion, this is where that terrorist thought he could scare us, he could intimidate us. 8 good lives lost, 11 others injured. For the families, a pain that will never go away. But I can say to all the family members and all the friends, the love and the prayer of New York, prayers of New Yorkers have been with you from that day forward. And there's been an extraordinary sense of solidarity among New Yorkers for all the families that lost their loved ones. That day could have gone very differently. It could have been much worse had our first responders not done their job so extraordinarily well, so bravely. But it also could have been the beginning of a time of fear. It could have been a moment when people turned away, when they, in their confusion, in their pain, decided they were no longer safe. They could no longer participate in our society. They could no longer go about their daily lives. The terrorists and all those who hoped to see something bad happen here only wished for that to happen. They wished that New York City would be cowed. They wished that the people in New York City would live in fear and would have to change. But you'll remember, after the news spread of this attack, the people of the city responded in extraordinary fashion. It was one of the most moving things I've seen in my life. Instead of living in fear, people came out in droves to show that they would not be moved, they would not be changed, they would not be intimidated. It happened that just hours later, very near to here, was one of the largest public gatherings of any year in New York City. And a lot of us were there that night on 6th Avenue. Literally 1 million people came out. They came out because it was an annual gathering, but they also came out knowing that they were sending a message that the terrorists had lost already. We often say when we're affronted by these kind of attacks, people can't be terrorized if they do not allow themselves to be. Well, New Yorkers do not allow themselves to be terrorized. And that day was a very proud day for this city. I don't know if you saw, but in the day or two after, we got to see the messages that the students at Stuyvesant High School were sending out. They witnessed the attack. They obviously were in danger themselves. And a lot of them that next day could have chosen not to come to school. They could have felt that it wasn't safe. They could have turned away. But once again, even our young people sent us all a message and gave us all an example. The students showed up just as normal the next day, and they said how important it was to be there, to show each other that they would protect each other, and to show each other that terrorism would not change us. It's worth noting that even last week, as we dealt with the shock of letter bombs being sent all over New York City, New Yorkers once again responded with strength and resiliency. They knew what was going on. The news spread to everyone. But New Yorkers responded with the best kind of defiance. They continued being New Yorkers. They continued going about their lives. So this is a day for mourning. It's a day for remembrance. But it's also a day to appreciate the good in this city and the good in this world. and the people who stand up to those who would divide us. Just a few words in Spanish, particularly to honor those we lost from Argentina. Hoy recordamos a las víctimas del cobarde ataque que sucedió hace un año en Tribeca. Damos gracias a los socorristas y al NYPD por su valentía al responder al ataque. Mi mensaje es claro. Este fue un ataque a nuestros valores, pero no nos cambiará. This was an attack on our values, but that attack will not change us, has not changed us, and we continue on together. Thank you, and God bless you all.
And thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. It's now my honor to introduce the Police Commissioner of the City of New York, the Honorable James P. O'Neill.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. It's important that we all are here. Although we're laying this wreath here today, New Yorkers remember these innocent lives every single day. 8 people taken from us, each of them out enjoying our great city, and nearly a dozen more injured, including 2 children. It's really unconscionable, and there's nothing we can say to alleviate the pain of those so directly affected, and I'm sorry for that. The fight against the evolving face of terrorism is one that no law enforcement agency can afford to lose, and neither can the public we serve. So as we make our way forward together, we remain steadfast in our commitment to maintain public safety in every neighborhood, on every street, on every sidewalk, and on every bike path. From this experience 1 year ago, not far from the Freedom Tower, we learned that we are greatly saddened. New Yorkers will never be deterred. I'd also like to thank all of the responders on last Halloween, especially the FBI. The mayor spoke about Officer Ryan Nash and his partners. To the Park Enforcement Patrol, thank you for responding so quickly. To the fire department and all the other agencies that responded. It's important that we all work together, and that's how we're going to continue to keep this city safe. It is the safest large city in the nation. It's all because we all work together, all law enforcement, all our prosecutors, and quite frankly, all 8.6 million New Yorkers. So once again, thank everybody for being here.
And thank you so much, Commissioner O'Neill. I'd now like to introduce the First Deputy Commissioner of FDNY, Laura Kavanaugh.
Thank you and good morning. First and foremost, our thoughts are with the victims of the attack and their families, and we thank them for being here with us. This was an attack on our entire city, those who live here and those who come here to work and to visit. It was a tragic loss of life, but would have been far worse without the brave members of the FDNY and the NYPD who rushed in, subdued a terrorist, and worked to treat and triage the victims. Thank you to all of our EMTs, paramedics, firefighters, and police officers who responded that day, many of whom stand here behind us. We continue to train every day alongside the NYPD for events just like this one. Our members always stand ready to protect the citizens and visitors of New York City. Thank you.
And thank you so much, Commissioner Kavanaugh. At this time, we'll ask the mayor, our representatives from the Consul General's office here, the police commissioner, the fire, first deputy commissioner, and the commissioner of OEM to join the mayor to the REIT to observe a moment of silence. Would everyone please rise? Mr. Mayor, Commissioner. We now bow our heads for a moment of silence. concludes our ceremony. We thank everyone for attending.